Hello everyone, it's almost 3 o'clock in the morning and I thought it's a great time to make a video. Seems that every day things are getting crazier in the world, doesn't it? So today I want to introduce you to two sections of the Bible that give us hope in a troubled world. And I'm going to try to do this in 1,200 words or less and 10-11 minutes so that none of us get bored. But first, some background. In the year 64 CE, Rome burned. You may have heard that Nero fiddled while Rome burned, but there's no evidence of this, especially because the fiddle hadn't been invented yet. But he may have started the fire. Maybe he played another instrument, but what we do know is that he blamed the Christians. Christians were easy targets because they refused to worship the Caesar as God. And for the next few hundred years, the Romans persecuted the Christians. Whole villages were wiped out just for being Christians. There is even a story of a Roman force sent to a village of Christians with orders to kill them. And when they got there, the commander saw that the Christians were peaceful and presented no threat, so the commander wrote a letter to the emperor explaining this to the emperor. The emperor sent back a letter telling the commander to kill them anyway. Well, you can imagine how such treatment would discourage Christians, and towards the end of the first century, into the second century, this became a problem. And two texts were written to encourage the Christians to hang on to their faith. One of these texts was the Gospel of Mark, which emphasizes the importance of normal, everyday Christians like you and me in spreading the Christian faith. But we're going to talk about that more in another video. Today we're going to focus on the second text, which is the Revelation of John, which was a letter written to 7 churches that were facing persecution. It is written in a genre called apocalyptic. And basically, apocalyptic was to the ancient Hebrews what our sci-fi is to us today. It made use of wild and unearthly symbols that would be known to the Hebrew/Christian church of the time. It featured plagues such as the ones that plagued Egypt when they refused to let the Hebrew slaves go. There were serpents, whores, a bad guy called the beast, and most importantly, the beast was a symbol for the emperor of Rome. Revelation is a letter sent to 7 churches. In chapters 1 through 3, these churches are directly addressed, and they are in the towns of Ephesus, Smyrna, Pergamum, Thyatira, Sardis, Philadelphia, and Laodicea. Each church is facing problems and seems to be at a point where decisions have to be made in each church. For instance, the church in Pergamum was for the most part unafraid to spread the gospel, that is, to tell the story of Jesus and the kingdom of heaven. But also in Pergamum was a large group of people that belonged to the cult of the emperor. And some of the people in Pergamum church were being pulled away from the Christian church or intimidated from going to it. There were a lot of pressure on these churches to abandon their beliefs altogether. Well, chapters 4 through 20 of Revelation deals with a vision that Jesus gave John. And in this vision, we see that the followers of Christ who have been murdered by those who are persecuting them, that is, the Romans, who were led by the serpent/Roman emperor, are asking, how long will it be until God punishes the Romans for the terrible things that the people of God suffered? And God tells the followers that they need to be patient, but that those who have hurt them will be punished for what they've done. The vision continues with symbolic events similar to the plagues that hit the ancient Egyptians, and promises a day in which the emperor and his helpers would be destroyed. The whole thing comes to a climax as the armies of Rome come to battle Jesus and his people, and Jesus finally saves his people, destroying the army of the beast, and brings peace to the earth by simply speaking it into existence. Or as the Bible put it, a sharp word came out of his mouth to destroy the beast and the city that was oppressing them and ruling over the kings of the earth. In other words, Rome bites the dust. Well, the last 2 chapters of Revelation sees God coming to live with the people of God on earth in a new Jerusalem. Revelation is not a horror story. It's not a left behind story, but rather it's a story of God and his love for his people, and how those who remain faithful to Jesus, even in the midst of trouble, will be rewarded, even if their lives on earth are not always easy. Revelation is a book of hope written for the people of the late 1st century. But it also speaks to those of us who follow Jesus today. Those who are actually brave enough to practice the love of Jesus, as taught in Matthew 25. Those who actually care for the hungry or the thirsty or the foreigner. Those who provide for the needy. Those who take care of the sick and need help getting medical care. And helping those who are in prison. Revelation is about how Jesus will repay the love he receives with love. And caring for all those people is love for Jesus. This is the theme of the entire Bible. When you hear people telling you that the Bible is about a mean, vicious, and angry God, you need to say thank you and excuse yourself from that person as fast as possible. And then you need to go and read the Bible for yourself. Get a translation that you can actually understand, like the New American Standard Bible or the New Revised Standard Version. If you can find one, maybe a New Century Version Bible. And if you can find a Bible that has the words of Jesus in red letters, all the better. If you can't find a Bible with the words of Jesus in red, email me at the address in the description, and I'll send you a PDF of a Bible study I wrote on the 4 Gospels. The Christians in the late 1st century and 2nd century faced a lot of troubles. Mark and Revelation gave them hope and a reason to continue in their faith. These books speak to us today as we face troubled times that test our faith. Remember, Jesus really did mean it when he said, love God with all your heart, all your strength, and all your mind, and to love your neighbor the same way you love yourself. That is a great message for today. We have a lot of work to do, and God depends on the little people like you and me to spread God's love to all people. No matter who you are, no matter what color your skin is, no matter how much money you have or don't have, no matter what you have or have ever done, God loves you. Well, that's enough of the rant for today. Remember to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Look for my next video wherein I list 5 reasons why the rapture makes no sense. Until then, so long, and may God bless. Goodbye.